Am I the a-hole for not telling my stepsister I knew her husband is gay? Basically the title. My stepsister is 16 years older than me, and, while there's no bad blood/beef or anything, we are not at all close. When her mum and my dad got married, she was already in her 20s and didn't like kids, so we never really hung out or got to know each other or anything. Just wanted to put that out there to establish the kind of relationship she and I have from the get-go. I found out that he's gay 2 years ago. Long story short, he kept going to the same gay bar I go to quite frequently. I cracked a joke to him about always seeing him there. He started crying and came out to me, but begged me not to tell anybody because it would destroy his relationship with his family. I promised to keep it a secret for him, and for the past 2 years I've kind of been his confidant about anything sexuality wise. I'm also gay, if you hadn't guessed, lol. Last week, my stepsister found out. She was on his computer and found some gay porn that he'd saved and confronted him about it. They had a huge fight and she kicked him out of their house, has told him he's not seeing his kids ever again, and basically publicly outed him on Facebook. IDK if he told her I knew, or what, but she found that out too and now she's furious with me. She says she can't believe I didn't tell her, that she knows we aren't close, but she at least thought her younger brother would tell her something like that I've helped in ruining her life, etc. She told my dad too, and he also thinks it was a right move. I'm just kinda torn on how I feel about what I did. On the one hand, I know not to ever out anybody. On the other, I get her point about being family and stuff. Was I the a-hole here? I'd like to wait to know if he actually slept with any of the men. It might have been more of a enjoy the company of similar people type thing. Although that doesn't absolve him, I think that there are extenuating circumstances that can really change the narrative. Edit. OP has stated that he never cheated to his knowledge. Basically, it was probably more of an emotional affair. Also, based on their culture and whatnot, we can't be sure that he knew he was gay right away, just that he was confused. Maybe he figured it out after he was already married. I do agree about outing someone. However, apart from potential cheating, there is also the issue of lying. And he chose not to divorce her when he could. Even if he didn't cheat, he knowingly lied to this woman. Forced her to live in this lie. Imagine how she's going to be able to trust someone again. Imagine how she must feel, like she's wasted all this time believing they had a marriage and relationship. He did this knowingly. That's not okay regardless. Just because he was in a shizzy situation doesn't mean he had to drag her into it. But agreed, I would try to tell him to break it off, or I'll have to tell her that he's a cheat/something. That is a half-truth without outing him. It's a shame he's put two people in such a horrible situation to begin with though. I love how everybody here is acting like the sister has no right to be upset, saying poor husband about him having to live in secret. Imagine if this was from her point of view. Her husband and father of her children has been lying to her for years. If he wasn't ready to come out, that's fine. Everybody has the right to do that on their own time. But you don't string along and marry a woman and have children, who in return is devoting herself and entire life to you, knowing your heart isn't really in it. Now she is forced to be a single mother because her husband was being dishonest. Her life has been completely flipped upside down. OP, I don't think you're an asshole for not outing him, though I do think you should have forced his hand in telling her himself, but that doesn't make her an a-hole either. She just found out her entire marriage was a sham and her whole world has now come crashing down. I think it's a pretty normal human reaction to lash out, considering her husband is the a-hole for dragging her along with lies and living a double life. He should have just not married anyone, rather than dragging somebody's feelings and entire life along for the ride. Try and put yourself in her shoes. This exact situation just played out in the UK with a well-known TV presenter Philip Schofield. He was married for many years with grown children. His wife didn't know he was gay, but he recently came out on live TV and had heaps of praise for being brave and living his truth. Some of his co-stars knew for years. All I could think was imagine being his wife, having spent 20 years with this guy, and then he admits he never really loved you in that way and you were basically an unwitting beard. After maybe a week of media silence, she voiced her support for him, but I can't help thinking she was just saying what she knew she had to say, or the papers would spend the next year dragging her for homophobia. If he's not willing to unearth his stuff to the point where he stops doing it that hurts people, yay. There's a big difference between keeping someone's secret and being complicit in their lies. Being in the closet shouldn't protect you from a sorely needed swift kick in the behind. He's not struggling with his identity. Dude knows. He's struggling with finding his balls for long enough to do the right thing. Dude has the right to his secrets. Dude does not have the right to use other people. He could choose to end the relationship and keep his secret, or he can choose to use his wife for his own selfish benefit. He doesn't get both. He's not a child. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew full well it was wrong, and he clearly understood the consequences. Being gay and closeted does not grant you an exemption from basic morality in a relationship. I don't know how the relationship started. If he was actually forced into it, or if he didn't know himself when it started, or both. So I'm not going to give him shiz for that. Society sucks. But by time you're sitting at a gay bar because you feel like an outsider in your own home, talking about your sexuality with other people, yeah, you know. Continuing in a relationship where you're entirely unable to give your partner a relationship is not acceptable. Lots of people figure out they're not interested in their partner or spouse anymore and end the relationship. Being gay might make that realization more complicated or painful, but once you're there it doesn't change what needs to happen next. The moral choice being hard or scary does not absolve you of the responsibility to get your shiz together and make it. He didn't need to tell her why, but he needed to get out of that relationship. Needing time to get his shiz together and screw his courage to the sticking place would have been fair. He's had at least 2 years to get it together, and instead he did nothing. Also, this outcome was always going to happen if they did nothing. It was not a question of if, but when. However, if OP had forced the issue and convinced him to do the right thing, this could have been avoided. You're the a-hole, and so is the husband. You knowingly participated in a lie that stole all agency from her. You were an accomplice in her husband tricking her so that she couldn't make her own decisions and was manipulated into giving him 2 years of her life. You were in a tough position, but you absolutely had a moral responsibility to make sure she knew she was being lied to. This is absolutely no different than Reddit's favorite "you have to tell the person being cheated on." Wait, so OP's sister married the dude as he was, and you think it's OP's fault that he didn't blow up the relationship at the request of his brother-in-law? What world do you live on that makes it the kid's fault that his sister chose to marry someone that ended up being gay? Also, is it being lied to if she still loved him and he still wanted to stay married to her? How else was OP supposed to interpret being asked to not tell and being told that his brother-in-law still wanted to stay married to his stepsister? Absolutely. If this guy was cheating, Reddit would be all she deserves to know. But she doesn't deserve to know that every single day she is being deceived and manipulated by her husband. Sorry, bro, I don't play that game. Except he wasn't cheating. How do you know? And even so, she had children with this man. He did use her. He went to highly sexual places for years and claims to have not been cheating. He was lying about his sexuality, screwing his wife over. I'm going to believe that he was lying about not cheating. Also, he forced his wife to be with someone who wasn't attracted to her. He sucks for cheating, lying, and coercing someone into a marriage. Would you date a sociopath who can't love anyone? Because that's what this man did to his wife. He could never love her, and he stayed with her because he's an awful person. Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe for more videos. See you all later.